Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ritesh Prabhu, Vishnu Prabhu, for leading the chanting. Let's start with Mangalacharan. Om Agyantamirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namahom Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminate Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. Okay, we'll continue with our wonderful tradition of reciting our prayer for this week, verses number 21 to 30 from Srimad Mukundamala Stotra. Anybody would like to try? Give it a try today. Even few verses. Not yet. Okay. All right. Hopefully this week somebody can try to. These are all very similar. So let me go ahead and, okay, I'm sharing my screen. All right. So we'll start with number 21. आम्नायाभ्यसनान्यरण्यरुदितं वेदव्रतान् अन्वहम् मेदश्छेदफलानि पूर्तविदयः सर्वं हुतं भस्मनि तीर्थानाम् अवगाहनानि च गज स्नानं विना यत्पदा बन्ध्वाम्बोरुह संस्मृतिं भजयते देवः स नारायणः मदन परिहर स्थितिं मदीये मनसि मुकुन्द पदारविन्दधाम्नि हरनयन कृशानुना कृशोऽसि स्मरसि न चक्र पराक्रमं मुरारेः नाथे धातरि भोगि भोगशयने नारायणे माधवे देवे देवकी नन्दने सुरवरे चक्रायुधे शान्गिनी लीलाशेष जगत्प्रपञ्च जठरे विश्वेश्वरे श्रीधरे गोविन्दे कुरु चित्तवृत्तिम् अचलम् अन्यैस्तु किं वर्तनै मा द्राक्षं क्षीणपुण्यान् क्षणमपि भवतो भक्तिहीनान् पदाब्जे मा श्रोषं श्राव्यबन्धं तव चरितमपास्यान्यद् आख्यानजातम् मा स्मार्षं माधव त्वाम् अपि भुवनपते चेतसा पानुवानान् मा भुवं त्वत्सपर्या व्यतिकररहितो जन्म जन्मान्तरेऽपि मज्जन्मनफलमिदं मधुकैतभारे मत्प्रार्थनीयमदनुग्रह एष एव त्वद्भृत्य भृत्य परिचारकभृत्य भृत्य भृत्यस्य भृत्य इति मां स्मरलोकनाथ तत्त्वं ब्रुवाणानि परं परस्तान् मधुक्षरन्तीव मुदा वहानि प्रवर्तय प्राञ्जलिरस्मि जीवे नामानि नारायणगोचराणि नमामि नारायणपादपङ्कजं करोमि नारायणपूजनं सदा वदामि नारायणम नाम निर्मलम् स्मरामि नारायणतत्त्वम् अव्ययम् श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव श्रीकृष्ण भक्त प्रियचक्रपाणि श्रीपद्मनाभाच्युतकैतभारे श्रीराम पद्माक्ष हरे मुरारे अनन्तवैकुण्ठमुकुन्द कृष्ण गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति वक्तुं समर्थो विनवक्ति कश्चित् अहो जनानां व्यसनाभिमुख्यम् भक्तापाय भुजङ्गगारुडमणिस्त्रैलोक्यरक्षामणिर्गोपीलोचनचातकाम्बुदमणिः सौन्दर्यमुद्रामणिः यः कान्तामणिरुक्मिणीघनकुच द्वन्द्वैकभूषामणि श्रेयो देवशिखामणिर्दिशतु नो गोपालचूडामणिः श्री मुकुंदमाला स्तोत्र की जय, श्री कुलशेखर आलवार की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. Anybody like to do the translations today?
Prabhuji, I can do it. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Unless until someone else want to do it.
No, go ahead. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Number 21. All glories to Lord Narayana. Without remembrance of his lotus feet, recitation of scripture is merely crying in the wilderness. Regular observance of severe vows enjoined in the Vedas is no more than a way to lose weight. Execution of prescribed pious duties is like pouring oblations onto ashes, and bathing at various holy sites is no better than an elephant's bath. 22. O Cupid, abandon your residence in my mind, which is now the home of Lord Mukunda's lotus feet. You have already been incinerated by Lord Shiva's fiery glance. So why have you forgotten the power of Lord Murari's disc? Number 23. Think only of your master and sustainer, the Supreme Lord, who is known as Narayana and Madhav, and who lies in the body of the serpent Ananta. He is the darling son of Devki, the hero of the demigods, and the lord of the cows, and he holds a conch shell and a bow saranga. He is the husband of the goddess of fortune and the controller of all the universes, which he manifests from his abdomen as the pastime. What will you gain by thinking of anything else? 24. O Madhav, please do not let me even glance at those whose pious credits are so depleted that they have no devotion for your lotus feet. Please do not let me be distracted from listening to the worthy narrations of your pastimes and become interested in other topics. Please, O Lord of the universe, let me pay no attention to those who avoid thinking of you, and let me never be unable to serve you in some menial work, birth after birth. 25. O enemy of Madhu and Ketabe, O Lord of the universe, the perfection of my life and the most cherished mercy you could show me would be for you to consider me the servant of 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 your servant. 26. My dear tongue, I stand before you and join palms and beg you to recite the names of Lord Narayana. These names, describing the supreme absolute truth, bring great pleasure, as if exuding honey. Number 27. At every moment, I bow down to the lotus feet of Narayana. I perform worship to Narayana. I recite the pure name of Narayana, and I reflect on the infallible truth of Narayana. 28th. O Srinath, Narayana, Vasudev, Divine Krishna, O kind friend of your devotees, O Chakrapani, Padmanabha, Achyut, Achyuta, Kedabhari, Rama, Padmakshri, Hari, Murari, O Ananta, Vaikuntha, Mukund, Krishna, Govinda, Damodar, Madhav, although all people can address you, they still they remain silent. You see how eager they are for their own peril. Number 30. He is the jewel riding in the back of Garud, uh, who carries away the Lord devotees in his wings. He is the magic jewel protecting the three worlds. The jewel-like cloud attracting the Kathak bird eyes of the gopis, and the jewel among all who gestures gracefully. He is only jeweled ornament on the ample breast of Queen Rukmani, who is herself the jewel of the beloved consorts. May that crown jewel of all gods, the best of the cowherds, grant us the supreme benediction. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, see so many wonderful names of the Lord here. Kulishekar Alvar is saying that people can address you so many in so many ways, but still they remain silent. But yes, for us, the Acharyas have given, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the essence of all these names which are there in the Mahamantra as Hare, Krishna, and Rama. So we can chant those names, chant the Mahamantra continuously all the time. That should be the thought, that should be the meditation, that, and that should be our prayer that, oh Lord, may I always be able to chant your holy names, because in this age, the holy names have come. Lord has come in the form of the holy names. So when we chant the holy names, we are actually associating with the Lord, and all his energies are there in those holy names. So that should be our mood, and that should be our prayer. Okay. All right, so we'll transition to Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. Currently reading from chapter 15. Yesterday we saw how Srila Prabhupada is trying fervently, as he has always been, to establish a place of worship for Shri Radha and Krishna in the city of New York. He was thinking that Lal Bahadur Shastri, the Prime Minister of India, will be able to help with some donation, but he passed away. He had a heart attack. Then there was another wealthy businessman, Mr. Singhania, but his thought process was a little different. He wanted to establish a temple which was with Indian architecture, but Srila Prabhupada was in the Vrindavan mood. He was in the Dwarka mood. So Prabhupada was still requesting him that there can be some midpoint, the Dwarka walas can come to Vrindavan wala and just like Krishna lives so simple lifestyle in Vrindavan, but in Dwarka he lives in palaces. So that was a kind of thought difference between the two of them. But eventually, I think he backed out, saying that no, that if we have to build a temple, it should be in that grandeur and that style. And then Prabhupada also received response from his god brother about deity worship, and so everybody was kind of little hesitant or little skeptical if this would work. But Srila Prabhupada was firmly determined, as he has always been, because he had the empowerment from his Guru Maharaj and from Shri Radha and Krishna, that he was able to pursue despite everything failing before him, all his plans, all his dreams, everything failing, but the man himself was not failing, right? So that was his determination. Okay, so we'll continue reading from this paragraph. Anybody would like to read today?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, can you also share the link to that? Looking at on the iPhone is very small, but if you share the link, we can all have the bigger font size. I know we can scroll or we can make it bigger, but that's not very easy, if possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I posted the link in the chat. Yes, Meenu Mataji, you want to read?
Prabhupada did not take this letter as final. He maintained hope that Sir Padmapad Singhania would still give money for the temple, if only the transfer of money could be arranged. He continued writing his godbrothers and other devotees, asking them to try to secure the government's sanction. He maintained his same aspirations, even though his sole prospective donor had rejected his scheme of a chakra and a dome atop a conventional two-story building. February 15th, he moved from room 501 downstairs 2 floors to a room all his own. I have changed my room 307 in the same building as mentioned above for better air and light. It is on the roadside junction of two roads, the Columbus Avenue and 72nd Street. According to Dr. Mishra, Prabhupada moved in order to have his own place, independent of the Mishra Yoga Society. February 16th, Prabhupada wrote to the proprietors of the Universal Book House of Bombay, giving some hints for selling his Srimad Bhagavatam in the Bombay area. He explained that he was trying to establish a Radhakrishna temple and that a big industrialist of India has promised to pay for the cost. Since it seemed that he might stay in the United States for many more days, he wanted the book house to take increased charge of selling his books throughout India. They were his agents for selling his books in Maharashtra, but now he recommended they take the responsibility in all provinces and introduce his books in colleges and universities throughout India. He also requested that they credit his bank account there for the books sold so far. February 26, Mr. A.P. Dharwadkar of the Universal Book House replied, I cannot give you very happy news on the progress of the sale of Srimad Bhagavatam because the subject is religious and only a small section of society may personally be interested in the books. We tried to push them through some booksellers to Nagpur, Ahmedabad, Pune, etc., but regret to inform you that after some time these booksellers returned the books for want of response. As such, we are not only unenthusiastic to agree to a proposal of taking up sales for all India, but we were just thinking of requesting you to nominate some other people in our place to represent your sale program in Maharashtra. So far, they had sold only 6 sets of his books, for which they were about to transfer rupees 172 to his account. This was hardly encouraging to the author. Again, India was not interested. Even in the land of religion, religious subjects were only a small section of the society. March 4th, another reverse. On February 8th, Srila Prabhupada had written to India's new Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi, requesting her to sanction the release of money from India. A reply, dated February 25th, New Delhi, came from the Prime Minister's official secretary, Mr. L.K. Gha. Dear Swamiji, the Prime Minister has seen your letters of February 8, 1966. She appreciates the spirit which prompted you to carry the spiritual message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam to other countries. Owing to the critical foreign exchange situation which the country is facing, it is greatly regretted that it will not be possible to assist you from here in your plan to set up a Radha Krishna temple. But Prabhupada had other hopes. After writing to the Prime Minister, he had written again to Tirtha Maharaj, asking him to request Dr. Radhakrishnan to persuade the government to sanction the release of funds. He waited for 1 month, no answer. Apparently, his godbrothers felt little obligation towards preaching in America. He had written that he needed encouragement from them to continue in America because it was so expensive. He had explained that he was spending the equivalent of 1,000 rupees a month. As such, I'm counting every day to receive your favorable replies. But there was no reply. March 18th, he wrote again to Sri Padmapat Singhania, requesting him to send a man from India to supervise work on temple in New York, as Mr. Singhania had previously suggested. There is no record of any reply to this request. Prabhupada wrote again to Sumati Morarji, requesting her to please send him a mridanga to accompany his chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. He also requested her that in future, when he would send many men from India, she obliged by giving them free passage on India steamship lines. No reply. As his financial situation became more urgent and his hopes more strained, his support from India withdrew in silence. His unanswered correspondence was itself a kind of message, loud and clear. We cannot help you. Although no one encouraged him, Srila Prabhupada trusted in the order of his spiritual master and the will of Krishna. The word from the Prime Minister regarding government sanction had been a definite no, but he had received another extension of his visa. Now his last hope was Sir Padmapat Singhania. Prabhupada knew that he was so influential a man in India that if he wanted, he could send the money. He was Prabhupada's final hope. April 2. Mr. Singhania did not reply personally. He had his secretary, Mr. Ishwara Iyer, write to Prabhupada, thoroughly discouraging his last hopes for purchasing a building in New York. I regret to write that Sir Padmapat ji is not interested in the scheme of building a Radha Krishna temple in New York at present. In regard to the inquiry contained in the last paragraph of your letter, Sri Padmapat ji duly received your books of Srimad Bhagavatam from your Delhi office. Yours faithfully. Seeing him from a distance, a tiny figure walking Manhattan's streets and avenues among many other tiny figures, a foreigner whose visa had almost run out, we came upon only the external appearance of Srila Prabhupada. These days of struggle were real enough and very difficult, but his transcendental consciousness was always predominant. He was not living in Manhattan consciousness. He was absorbed in dependence upon Krishna, just as on the Jalduta he had suffered his heart attacks. His reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita had supplied him the nectarine of life. He had already succeeded. Certainly, he wanted to provide Radha and Krishna a temple in New York, but his success was that he was remembering Krishna. Even in New York City in the winter of 1965-66, whether the world recognized him or not a day went by when he did not work on Krishna's book Srimad Bhagavatam, and not a day went by when he did not offer food to Krishna and speak on Krishna's philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost to him and he is never lost to me." And Krishna assures his pure devotees that my devotee will never be vanquished. There was never any doubt about this for Prabhupada. The only question was whether Americans would take notice of the pure devotee in their midst. At this point, it seemed that no one was going to take him seriously. Should we move on to 16, Prabhuji? Chapter 16, Free to Preach. Here I am now sitting in New York, the world's greatest city, such a magnificent city, but my heart is always hankering after Vrindavan. I shall be very happy to return to my Vrindavan, the sacred place. But then, why are you here? Now, because it is my duty, I have brought some message for you people. Because I have been ordered by my superior, my spiritual master, whatever you have learned, you should go to the Western countries and you must distribute this knowledge. So, in spite of all my difficulties, all my inconveniences, I am here because I'm obligated by duty. From a lecture by Srila Prabhupada. Room 307 was never meant for use as a residence or ashram or lecture hall. It was only a small, narrow office without furniture or a telephone. Its door held a large pane of frosted glass, the kind common in old offices. Above the door was glass-paned transom. Prabhupada placed his blankets on the floor before his metal footlocker, which now became a makeshift desk where he wrote. He slept on the floor. There was no facilities here for cooking or even for bathing, so daily he had to walk to Dr. Mishra's apartment. When he had lived in room 501 in Dr. Mishra's yoga ashram, Dr. Mishra had financed his needs, but now Prabhupada was on his own, and whatever he could raise by selling his books, he would have to use for his daily maintenance and for the monthly rent of $72. He noted that for little powdered chili, the West End Superette charged 25 cents. 10 times what he would have paid in India. He had no guaranteed income. His expenses had increased and his physical comforts had reduced. But at least he had his own place. Now he was free to preach as he liked. He had come to America to speak about Krishna, and even from the beginning he had found the opportunity to do so. Whether at an informal get-together in the Agarwal's living room or before a formal gathering in the Butler Lions Club, Dr. Norman Brown's Sanskrit class, Dr. Mishra's Yoga Society, or the Tagore Society. But he did not attach much importance to lecturing, where the people who gather would hear him only once. This was the main reason he wanted his own building in New York, so that people could come regularly, chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam in his company, and hear him speak of from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
I think we'll
Move.
pause here, Mataji.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes. Wonderful reading, always. Yes, anything that comes to your mind as you read that?
Yes, Prabhuji. That his Krishna consciousness is so prominent that him being in the most materialistic city of the world, New York, he did not go into Manhattan consciousness, despite being. He didn't have austerities. He didn't do austerities by choice, but he had to do all the austerities because his comforts were decreasing and discomforts were increasing. There was clear no from all the avenues, yet he did not give up. He remained steady in his aspiration to spread Krishna consciousness to the Western world, because he simply had one thing and only one thing in his mind: to follow his spiritual master's order and to give Krishna to everybody in the Western world. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, we should. Because in the words of the spiritual master, I mean, those are not different from the words. The spiritual master is the manifest representation of the Lord in this world, and whatever is the Vani is the word of the Lord, right? So with that firm faith he had that if my spiritual master had told me this, I have to do this, right? So it did not matter then whatever else was happening around him. For him, that was his life and soul, what instruction he had received, and he knew that that will come to be real. So yeah, with that full surrender, he just pursued. I see how much, like that statement where it says, like his responses or his support from India had just died silently, right? Nobody was responding to him. You could see from the other side of the house, the other side, if you put ourselves in their shoes, they would be thinking, okay, this is some crazy man, he's just, he's facing so many issues, yet, he's continuing to write to us and ask for help. But it is so easy for someone to ignore, right? To say, okay, just forget, we'll see what happens, right? So I think that was kind of the mood that was showing up from the other side. But here was a man who was completely surrendered to the instructions that had come from his guru. So he knew that he just had to fulfill that, and like we saw here, like it was mentioned, he was already a success, and because Krishna says that, yeah, for who sees me everywhere and everything in me, he's never lost to me. So Prabhupada's internal mood was always like that. And so for him, the Lord is always with him. The Lord is always blessing him. But yeah, externally, we see all these challenges. But again, this is really, now when we read this after 50 years, how much of positivity and inspiration we derive from this thing, that, okay, yes, whatever small things we see here and there around us, all the troubles and tribulations that we face, those are nothing as compared to what Srila Prabhupada faced. And yeah, we should not be discouraged and we should not lose hope, right? So when we sincerely follow, sincerely practice and what he gave us, he told us, then just like for him, everything became a reality. For us, everything will become a reality, because we are just following sincerely in what he has given us. And this also reminded me, this last paragraph, about how he was looking for a permanent place, right? So because that very much correlates with our journey also in ISKCON Cincinnati. When I was here, and we started before I came to Cincinnati, there was devotees who so sincerely started everything, and there were programs happening at home and in colleges, and sometimes we'll do it Mason Community Center, etc. Right, but we never got that full traction until we actually had a dedicated center. So thank you to Nand Kumar Prabhu and family that we were able to start our Springdale Center, C1 as we call it, or Panchatattva Center, back in 2017. And then we started seeing, there was some basic continuity, there was some, basic cadence of the programs and everybody coming together. And we, from being like 5-10 members, sometimes 20 members on some festivals at the Mason Community Center, we grew to whatever, 40, 50, 60 devotees coming every Saturday. And then when we moved here to Mason last year to Sims Township, that kind of almost doubled or tripled. And we had more participation, more enthusiasm. So yeah, and now we of course have the C3. So, but yeah, having a dedicated place like what Srila Prabhupada was trying here, certainly, has also, we can see, I can draw parallels from this, what Srila Prabhupada is thinking, that lecturing once here and there was not helping him, but having a dedicated place, a dedicated temple for Shri Radha and Krishna is what he wanted. So hopefully he will continue to bless Cincinnati also, that we can have a dedicated temple in the future. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything?
Yes, Prabhuji. So, by listening to whatever you were saying, I just remembered, I heard a lecture from somebody, I don't remember the name, but, he was saying that the definition of success and failure is different in Krishna consciousness. It's not like in how we describe in material world. It's just about trying. So if you try, that's success in Krishna consciousness. If you don't try, that's a failure. So, Prabhupada exactly does that. He just keeps on trying, and he's just following the principles of Bhagavad Gita, especially the shloka, which I can remember is a karmanye adhikaraste. He's just following his own duty and not worrying about what will happen. He just keeps on doing what he is supposed to do, what he's supposed to be is supposed to be instructed by the spiritual master. So yeah, these two things just came to my mind.
Thank you, Shri Mataji, for sharing. Yes. Anybody else? Vishwanath Prabhu, anything from you?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. No, I think everybody summarized, but Prabhupada just keep reminding us if we just have faith and if we don't even have faith in ourselves, if we have faith in our spiritual master, that how much we can accomplish. And he showed us that, because that poem that we read earlier when he wrote on the Jaladuta, he clearly prayed that I have no strength to do on this. Make me your puppet. You give me that name. Bhaktivedanta fulfilled that purport. So, but by his mercy of his spiritual master, he was doing all this. So, same thing for us. We may not feel that we have the potential, and which we may not have. But if we simply believe that we're helping Srila Prabhupada in this mission, we are gonna successful in this path. So just want to share. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for reminding us again of that wonderful prayer, wonderful poem that he wrote. Yes. Thank you, Vishwanath Prabhu. Okay, so it's 6:33. Pause here for today. Thank you all. Thank you all the devotees for your kind association and your wonderful thoughts and reflections. Let us all continue to be absorbed in the meditation of Srila Prabhupada and all his endeavors that he did, following in the instructions of his Guru Maharaj, so that we can also get that drop of power and inspiration in our life. Okay. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you.